Tomorrowland. First things first, I'm gonna apologize, because this is not actually my immediate reaction. This is my immediate-ish reaction. This is me taking a second after I saw the movie to get gas and get a little ice cream for me to snack on when I get home, so that I could take time to calm down, so that this video isn't just a stark, ravingly mad, foaming at the mouth, swear words pouring out of me like Niagara Falls rant. Needless to say, this movie pissed me the fuck off. And from this point on, I'm going to try very hard to keep this video PG-13, because I can say the F-bomb or drop an F-bomb once and still, and according to the MPAA, be PG-13. So I'm going to attempt to maintain that, while also having the moniker for this video be "This movie pissed me the bleep off," and I can't believe I actually just bleep myself. The extent to which I'm willing to go for comedy. So, Tomorrowland. There's really nothing to say except to say exactly what this movie is about, and it's not a spoiler because the movie starts saying this right from the get-go. So I'm going to put a light spoiler warning up from this point on. I'm not going to say any specific plot details. I'm not going to give any specific character things. I'm not going to give any beat for beat breakdowns. I'm not even going to say when the big moment of the movie is, when they finally come out and finally say this, as opposed to just being like, you know what we're saying? You see where we're going with this, for an hour and a half. Because, by the way, this movie goes an hour and 20 minutes before they even get to Tomorrowland. And once they finally get there, what does this movie do? It just comes flat out and says its idiotic theme that it's been nudging at you for an hour and 20 minutes. And what is that theme? That the reason why dystopian stories, the reason why post-apocalyptic stories, and the reason why at this moment in time mankind is so obsessed with stories about our downfall, with stories about our demise, and stories about unhappy futures, the reason why they're popular is because they're easy. Because they don't ask anything of us. Because they don't make us go out, get up off our asses, get into the world, and do something. Now that that has sunk in, let us really consider what that is. What they're saying by saying that. What Brad Bird, what Disney, what Damon Lindelof are saying with this movie is that dystopian stories, post-apocalyptic stories, or stories that just in general don't paint a future that's happy-go-lucky. Sorry, I should have held up a finger there. What they're saying, those stories are saying, is nothing of value. This movie exists to bitch slap in the face 1984, which it blatantly does, and countless other classic literary moments in human history. This piece of art exists to shit on other art. This movie's purpose, the reason why it exists, the reason why Disney spent $190 million, not including advertising, and let's be honest here, they pushed the hell out of this movie, so that advertising budget could be anywhere from $50 to $100 million. So, the thing that Disney, in fact, actually spent somewhere between $240 and $290 million is a pretentious, preachy piece of shit that exists to make you think that other stories that you currently think are good are actually terrible. I'm at a loss. I really don't know what to say. That silence there wasn't for comedy purposes. I'm really not trying to be very funny right now. A little silly, but I'm not trying to be funny because I really, truly hate this movie. I can't remember the last time I have walked out of a movie and felt like not only I was talked down to this much, but that the movie was so obsessed with its own whatever the hell it thinks it is, that its ego has inflated to a point where it thinks that it is better than its peers. Guys, this is the Kanye West of movies. This movie thinks that it is saying something so profound and so deep and so emotionally charged and epic that it takes time in its plot to legitimately try and convince you that stories that you like are shit. That's the climax of this movie. There, fine, I guess I spoiled it. The climax of this movie. The pivotal moment of this movie. The moment where the villain comes out and says what is happening. The purpose behind it is to make you hate things like Lord of the Flies. And you know what? Hunger Games. Because you know what? The Hunger Games is a post-apocalyptic dystopian story that actually has something of value to say. It's saying that the class system is horribly unbalanced to the point where the rich exist to be rich and to only maintain a level of perfection that cannot actually be maintained. That reality TV exists to stroll out the poor and make them horribly embarrassed upon a national scale. Things of value. Things that have applicable meanings to today's society, that make us stop and consider the world we live in, that make us look at the things that are happening around us and question them. That's value. That's art. Saying that other art isn't art, or that it's bad or weaker in comparison to your art because it doesn't wear a big happy smiley face upon its face. Sorry, it's 1 a.m. I'm ranting a little bit. But oh my God! Do you see what I'm saying? Like, am I making sense? Do people see what I'm saying? This movie has the gall to say this 1 week after Mad Max Fury Road came out. Mad Max Fury Road alone makes Tomorrowland an ungodly piece of shit. You know why? Because Mad Max Fury Road is about women breaking free of the societal bonds that have been applied to them and make them essentially things of sexual desire and belittlement. That's what the crazy driving cars around in the apocalyptic future deserty movie is about. What is Tomorrowland about? Saying that things like Mad Max Fury Road aren't worth your time. And you know what? It's a kid's movie. It's a kid's movie and it's saying that. How many kids are going to see this movie and have it affect them as they grow up? And when it comes to time for them to read 1984 in high school, how many of them are going to look down on 1984 and think that it's terrible and not worth their time because when they were young, when they were a child, they saw Tomorrowland? Now for the record, I'm not the biggest 1984 fan. I had to trudge to get through the book, and I think there's a movie, right? And I've never seen it. But you know what? The book wasn't an easy read for me because it didn't really get me. But it did have good ideas. Just because I didn't enjoy reading it doesn't mean that I don't think that it doesn't have anything of value to say. Brad Bird, Damon Lindelof, Disney. Read my lips that you can barely see in the dark right now. Just because the movie, the story, the book, the play, whatever it was that you saw left you with an unpleasant feeling in your tummy afterwards, doesn't mean the story didn't have anything of value to say. And for the record, I'm saying that as a Brad Bird enthusiast. I have been hoping and dreaming and waiting for Incredibles 2 ever since the moment the first Incredibles ended. That is my favorite Pixar movie. That is easily one of my favorite movies of all time. I love The Iron Giant. That movie makes me cry. That is such a good movie. Like, oh my god. I can't believe how good The Iron Giant is once you learn that the movie almost didn't get a theatrical release. That's right. Iron Giant almost didn't get a theatrical release. Think about that. I don't know what that has to do with this movie, The Tomorrowland, except the fact that they're directed by the same person, but think about that. Iron Giant almost didn't get a theatrical release. And I even like Ghost Protocol. The first time Brad Bird directed a live-action movie. That movie is fun. That movie is epic. That movie is through the roof with silliness and awesomeness, and I love it. Ghost Protocol is awesome. And I totally forgot that Brad Bird also did Ratatouille. Ratatouille is awesome. What the hell happened, Brad Bird? How did you go from making movies like The Iron Giant to Tomorrowland? You know, maybe it's a studio thing. I'll throw that disclaimer out there now. Maybe the script that Lindelof turned in was just really that bad. Maybe this was some kind of studio obligation that Brad Bird had to do it. Maybe Brad Bird set out with a different goal in mind and Disney turned it into this. I don't know. But someone, somewhere, turned Tomorrowland. A movie that's supposed to be about a big, bright, beautiful future. And made it a preachy, god-awful... Look at my face right now. This is what Tomorrowland did to me. It makes me look like this. Unhappy. And you guys have seen me? You guys have seen me after I saw things like It Follows. How happy was I after I saw that? You saw me within 20 minutes of me seeing Age of Ultron. How ecstatic and just wanting to talk about that movie excited was I? How was I after Mad Max? I was excited. I was happy. I was energized. Listen to my voice. This is my whiny voice right now. This is what Tomorrowland did to me because it's not art. Tomorrowland, no, that's not fair. Tomorrowland is art. It's just art that exists to shit on other art. Do I even, No, I'm done. I'm done ranting.